to the homework review in a second. So welcome to week number 6. It's very special because this is past our 50% mark. And also, let's congratulate Ian on winning the prize. And thank you for the 2 presents you brought to class today. What cover your diamond? Wow, donuts covered by diamonds, representing the trophy. So Ian's team project won the demo day. So you 4 people will have to fight. I want more money, because you have to split that $1,000 prize between 4 of you. Yeah. So for those who did not see Ian at demo day, the project Ian was part of the iOS class, and the final project is pretty cool. Could you tell the class what it's about?
What is about a backpacker on a motorbike with a new external Bluetooth device that can connect with the phone and send a notification when someone is injured.
What is the device that you connected over Bluetooth with? What is that controller?
That's just Bluetooth. It should be a wearable device.
Yeah.
But in the demo day, to show something.
What is the name of that thing? You say it's Bluetooth, but
that's just
so it's not like a Raspberry board. It's just a cheaper one. So this is an example of a mobile app, right? We're web developers here, and we can't really do Bluetooth with the web. It's possible, but it's much unreliable and harder. So you have to rely on some experimental support. But with mobile, it's just native. It's Bluetooth support, and so this is one of the example of making use of mobile hardware, GPS, Bluetooth. So they use both of that. And it's really cool. And the design, did you do much of the design? It's really beautiful. So, wow, good stuff there. So that demo day finished off the 8-week, part-time classes. We're in our 5th week. 6 weeks now. Let's see how it plays out. If we have promising projects, we'll do a demo day. I mean, the goal is always to do a demo day. But if our projects are not good, we can say, okay, let's just eat Dunkin' Donuts ourselves and give ourselves some prize. So thanks for bringing the 2 presents today, although I think you're missing 1 present. There should be 3. So his first present is a Dunkin' Donuts for the prize, right? The second is $9,000 for being late. And the third one is for not submitting homework on time. And that one will be maybe $1,000. Okay, $1,000. Yeah, no, it's exciting, right? I mean, so last week we finished the 2nd week into Rails. You can handle a little more complex Rails relationship now. You can build a little more complex view now, right? Controller and view and model. All the logic gets a little more complicated. You're more comfortable with the routes. And you learn a little bit of testing. That's how I go to the user test file and test some methods.
I have a question about testing.
Yeah.
First of all, when I do the test, when I create a user, and after that I add the hash setting password. So all the tests before fail because it's the create user doesn't have a password.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So initially you create a user, and then it's okay for that test to create an invalid user, for example, so you can test the name attribute.
It's valid at that point. So we just create a new user.
But it's valid at that point. but in reality it's not valid because you're creating a user without a password. So after you add has secure password, there are two ways to do it. One, ask yourself, do you need to create or just do user.new? If that's enough, then there's no need to save to the database. If you do user.new and then you assert, right, A is user.new, A.name is Adam, then you can say assert equal Adam A.name. So you can test the name attribute without saving the user at all. That's one way. Does that make sense? Second way, you just have to add back the password and make sure that all your tests pass with the new has secure password restriction. Has secure password is just very useful. It creates the password attribute for you. It validates the attribute for you, password and password confirmation, and it provides you the user.authenticate method. That's pretty much it. So why not make it valid? And that's fine too. The third way, you can also save a user when it's not valid. Sometimes you may want to do it, and that's okay because you don't need a user to have a password, but you want to save it anyway, and it's possible. You can save user.save, validate false, and it doesn't validate and it just save for you. In those cases, it could be useful for your test. But the first option is the optimal one. It's faster. Don't save it to the database. The second option is good because then now you're just creating more, just valid records, easy to read. It's just slightly more code, but you can learn how to refactor that later. Refactor means changing your code without changing the functions. And third, if you really need it, you can force any record to save even though it's not valid.
Is it that problem happens a lot? Person want to add a line in the main code and it does fail?
Well, it means either your tests are too easy to break, or what you're adding is just too risky. You're just changing too much of the code. For example, if you change the column name to first name, just change it. Imagine that it's going to break your code in a lot of places. So naturally, it should break your tests. Okay, so today, to get you excited, so if we all just pay attention on the board, first we're going to test with, we're going to learn testing with RSpec, which is a more common testing framework. Things will look more beautiful for you. Okay, and very quickly it will look like this. Test now will look like documentation. So you can run tests like normal. You can even have something that looks like a documentation process. So it's very nice when you can write your code to test the way that it looks like you're documenting your project. You can generate in an HTML, nice HTML format, save it to a file, and open that file to show off to your client. So you can see that as your project gets bigger, you get a lot of these things that really, this serve as the specification in your project. A lot of the times your user story may work here, may read like some of the tests here. And that's the reason why it's called a spec. When you work on a project, you have to write specs, and that's the reason why, and this is quite beautiful. Then another thing is you learn today that you can implement cool things like an admin framework. Now you realize that you can save a lot of time. You can build these beautiful dashboard. You can generate test data easily from one user to the next with just a few lines of code. So you don't have to worry about implementing some of the feature that it's just so common. This can be generated, and that's, you know, when you enter the professional world, you're building it for someone, a client, right? You build some front pages, but the back end, you can just give them the whole admin interface. All right, so if you use WordPress before, you know what I mean. If you use some other framework, not all programming languages and web frameworks provide you beautiful admin interfaces, but Ruby is one, and more and more popular frameworks, right, include these things. Or it support Font Awesome, and it just this is the one that's really new that I recommend you guys check out. There are just a lot of options. So this is what it's called, and I will just talk you through different options. There's no one best and perfect solution in general. So I'm giving you guys a taste of these two. This will be in a bonus milestone. It's just the most powerful one, the most automatic one. You don't have to touch any code, and the lightest weight one, and this is the most modern and beautiful. So it depends on your use, and sometimes you switch between one and another. Feature wise, it's the same. Some doesn't have search, some doesn't have filter, some has everything. So it's pretty cool. All right. So that's the whole point of today, and that gives you sort of the inspiration. Oh, that's cool. If I get to the end of the day, I can always make my project more beautiful. You can go back to your project and add this. All right. Understanding RSpec is crucial to your Ruby success. So you will go through that today, and I will do a little walkthrough. Now I have to go at 10:30, so let's see how much I can do in half an hour, and then I'll come back, of course, after lunch. So very quickly with homework, we have the 3 prizes. As promised, I will just have the prize for you. I only graded 3 homework so far, so if you already graded, you should have received an email, and you get the feedback already. So I'll just show some of the homework very quickly. So this is Fu's homework. It's pretty cool. So don't allow people to view and search other people. You put the search bar there to tempt people that, oh, I can search some users, and then they cannot see it, and they're like, okay, fine, I'll sign up. So you have 1 extra user. So it's good to support login with Facebook. Note that in most of your app, your Facebook app, when you create it on Facebook, it's only in development mode. So it only works for you, okay? And if you want it to work for your friends, you either add your friend Facebook account in the tester area on Facebook, or you make your Facebook app public, put it in production mode. So overall, this is one of the great submissions with a lot of features. Just some suggestions that pay attention to the colors, right? Over time, definitely make good color contrast. Still, effects-wise, it's pretty cool to explore some cool concept. This is quite futuristic. You mouse over and the text jump at you. And Fu probably love cats. Yeah, so that's cool. Just font, stick with you see all these messages and stuff. Stick with the Boomar component. Don't write your own div, too many different divs like this, right? These ones you can stick with the Boomar message component and stuff. Then it looks a little bit more consistent. So each time you just use a different color, then that's not very good typography and layout. Yeah.
Just realized that I struggle a lot with doing this stuff because of every design that I need to know which system. So because I self-taught myself the design, right?
So then you should just do it yourself, but just make sure it doesn't look ugly. So you struggle, do you struggle more with making it beautiful yourself, or do you struggle more with making Boomar beautiful? So would it be easier if you make it beautiful yourself and that's something you feel free to do. So this learning path is about understanding how things work, but don't try to accomplish everything. It's in the same way if you code on Windows, you're going to struggle in certain ways, but you can still be productive if you understand that Windows only let you do A, B, C, D. It does not let you do E, F, G. If you work on a Mac, the Mac doesn't let you do A, B, C, D, right? Same thing. So it should never be the main reason why you do not finish the work. It should only be like, okay, half an hour is done, it's wasted, all right, I have to take an approach that works. Cannot just be like, spend the whole day on Boom Out with Bootstrap, because that is just mean that it's, we are not training ourselves a good skill to work with other people. Right? Okay, so don't be deterred that, okay, the thing you struggle with, because then you spend more time in the docs and try to understand the way they think.
I feel like when it's myself, I just become messy. When I look at it again,
And again, the focus here is, right, if you do it yourself, you just do it enough so that you feel that it looks good, and also you feel that you're getting better at writing clean code. Sometimes you want to go for the most beautiful, but then you just write really messy code. That's okay the first time. Maybe the next time you do it again, it will be better. Don't try to achieve 10 things at the same time. So it will be like, oh, my own code has to be really clean. If I use Boom or CS, or Bootstrap, I have to make sure they follow what I want. It can be a lot. And same reason, Rails will be like, Fu will share that, oh, this is so much magic, I don't understand. And it's okay, because then use just enough magic. I love the kitchen analogy. If I go into the kitchen and I see a lot of knives, I will be, oh my god, I don't know which knife I use to cut my tomato. It's okay, just pick any knife. And if you start cutting it, it sucks, pick a different knife. Right? And if it still sucks, just eat the damn tomato already. Don't even need to cook it. Yeah? So, another one, I thought Louis' one was so very clean. So he put a little trick there, add the GIF extension. So, thank you, Cloud App. So basically, like so basically most of the main features, I review the code, and I hope this time the code seems clearer to you. Yeah, so understand all this whole flow is very good. So you could use the font awesome stuff. So add to make it better, but at the minimum, everything is clean, and that's good. This is also very cool. Now, recorded.co is a little mean. The free version sort of just remove the GIF file. They don't like hosting it, so it expire. It's on Amazon, to be honest. Like I think the reason is they didn't set it generously. It's quite stupid, but maybe we should complain to them. So if you click this GIF file, it create that URL. Now my recommendation is to save that file to your project and then commit it. Okay? We'll do that in the future. Save the file and then commit it. So this one's really cute, full of colors, and as always, we has very cool app name. It's in Vietnamese, so good luck understanding that. And this time she has many cool friends. So you like these girls? So yeah, it's quite nice and beautiful. So this I think also has the core main feature. There's some interesting layout that's not similar to what we did in class. So I think it's good effort there. This is Oscar's one. I think this is really cool. I haven't reviewed this one yet, but do you allow searching?
Yeah, search by name.
Search by name. So we could support search by name and email. Of course, that's more advanced query. We can check later. What's cool about this one is it also has posting on a wall. And so besides sending messages, you can post on someone else's wall. So this is the most functional and also potentially one of the most beautiful as well. But maybe you shouldn't win 2 prizes. So we will just give him one prize. Yeah, so the use of, and you stick with Booma for this app?
Yeah, I'll Booma.
Right. I think this little things like the circle is the trend in the web nowadays, right? It's quite nice that we display it. And again, most CSS framework allow us to have the circle image.
So with the order of the import in the static CSS,
Mm.
so it's like tricky to import what before Booma.
Sure. Normally, a CSS framework, you always import first. If you use any other libraries, CSS libraries, you import next. Okay? And then you import your code last. Mm. Now, the only exception is when you import the Booma variables. Should be before. That's it. A what? Plugin? What's a brand? The what?
Branding.
The branding. So again, you get if they're just variables, then you can customize it. Yes, if it's a variable. And this is something you can ask on Slack. And Louis, I don't know why you just joined the questions table. The other day, I'm like, welcome to Earth, man. You've been in Mars. Then just drop the questions in. You don't need to wait for an answer. Just like, okay, I have a question, put it in. Like some of this is really fast and simple. So any of the elements you have the variables you can use. Actually, it will say that here. And for Boomar, so I'm gonna pick one. What is it that maybe, let's say the elements. Let's say the buttons, right?
So for origin.
Here. Yeah?
For origin, like awesome form.
Yes. You put it after. So the order is third-party libraries and your code. Okay? Now, between Pumar and Font Awesome, they don't really have anything in common. So you should probably put, it doesn't matter. But if you maybe it's better you put Font Awesome first because Booma actually understand Font Awesome. Just that it doesn't care. So it either order. Just use very common sense logic. So in this, if you're stuck in, again, ask that. Take a screenshot. This is the order. Is that a problem? Same thing with your JavaScript files. The jQuery extension you add, it's before your code. Always. Your code is always last. Why? Yeah, you can have the control of it. You don't want to write a function and then someone else it has a library that just override your function and then you sit there and scratch your head because that happens. All right, so here, for example, if you want to customize Booma, first, stick with customizing only variables, for example. Then that cannot be too hard. Right? If you customize anything else, put after Booma. If you customize the way the border works, the spacing, sure, change. Look at the colors, right? You can customize the color button, just only button color, and you can see the other colors here related like hovering or background. Or you can customize the whole app anywhere that is using a white color, such as your navbar. You change it to a different white, like a light, dark white. You can change the primary color, the background. These are variables that Booma uses for the entire app for many components. Okay, so they have this button. It's called is white. Is the is light, is dark, is black. So then this has responsive color like white color, dark, gray. So customize that and have fun. Have fun, don't fight. All right. So this saw that here.
Question.
Yeah.
So is it the same for all the CSS framework that we put the CSS? Like
Variable.
Yes, and normally you could see that in the README file. Any CSS framework will tell you how to override it as in the README file. Okay, so Ian and Ian, do you have no Stan and Ian? Do you guys have GIF that you are?
Yeah, mine should be attached.
Okay, fantastic. Let me see. Mm-hmm. All right. It's okay. It's here. Nice. All right. So again, so overall, do you guys like Booma better than Bootstrap?
Yeah. I do. I think for me, I'm still trying to figure it out, so I'm kind of like indifferent about it because I feel like the adjusting the colors and customizing a little bit is still a little bit unknown. So
Yeah, I see.
It's about the container, why Bootstrap is good the container, the whole of it.
Yeah. Well, container is optional in both cases, I think.
the
But
design is much nicer.
yeah, it's more modern and it's inspired by Bootstrap. So, you know, it's just like something that comes out later. It's inspired by Bootstrap. So it's cleaner in terms of the way the CSX classes are used. I think it's overall, even though it's before 1.0, you know, it's still pretty neat. So yeah, great job here. Okay then. So I noticed this one here. So if you use the in the form, you use the control and the field class. Field class will add the padding at the bottom, and the control class and the label class used inside it. Then it'll look a little bit more consistent. So we'll decide this one, right? All right. Later today. Let me just start by introducing to you guys to RSpec. All right. All right. Let me stop this.